Dear brothers and sisters in faith, imagine with me for a moment. A young shepherd, barely more than a boy, standing alone in a valley of shadows, facing a towering giant whose very presence shakes the earth. This is the story of David and Goliath, a tale etched in the hearts of generations. But what if I told you that this was not the end of David's battles with giants? What if I shared with you a hidden truth, one that unveils not just one giant, but a lineage of colossal warriors, some of whom sought to avenge their fallen kin? Among them was a brother of Goliath, a fearsome figure who nearly brought David's life to an end. Why have these stories been overlooked? What do they reveal about the ancient world and the faith that sustained God's chosen people? Stay with me, dear friends, as we journey into the scriptures, uncovering mysteries that speak not only of battles fought long ago, but of the courage and trust in God that continue to inspire us today. Let us walk together with open hearts to discover the untold story of David and the giants. In the sacred pages of the scriptures, we meet David, a humble shepherd from the tribe of Judah, the son of Jesse, chosen by God to lead his people. David's life was not one of ease or comfort. He was not born into privilege, nor did he wield the sword of a seasoned warrior in his youth. Yet, God saw in him a heart full of faith, a spirit attuned to divine purpose. As we read in 1 Samuel 16, when the prophet Samuel anointed David, the Spirit of the Lord came upon him mightily. This young man, who tended sheep and played the harp, was destined to become not only a king, but a symbol of God's fidelity to his promises. His life was a tapestry woven with trials, triumphs, and moments of profound intimacy with God, expressed through the Psalms that still comfort us today. Yet, among all his deeds, one stands out as a beacon of courage: his encounter with Goliath, the Philistine giant. At the tender age of 15 or 17, with no armor or military training, David faced a warrior whose height, estimated at over 9 feet, struck terror into the hearts of Israel's army. Armed with a sling, 5 smooth stones, and an unshakable trust in God, David felled Goliath, proving that faith can move mountains and topple giants. But, my dear friends, this was not the end of the story. Goliath was not alone. He belonged to a lineage of giants, the Rephaim, whose presence in the ancient world raises questions that echo through the ages. Who were these giants? What was their origin? And why did they pose such a persistent threat to God's people? Let us turn our hearts to the mystery of the Rephaim, a race of giants whose origins are shrouded in the mists of antiquity. The scriptures in Genesis 6 speak of a time before the great flood when the sons of God took human women as wives, giving rise to the Nephilim, a race of extraordinary beings. These were the mighty men of old, renowned for their strength and feared for their dominance. The term Rephaim itself carries a weight of mystery. In Hebrew, it hints at the shades or spirits of the dead, suggesting a connection to a world beyond the mortal. Some scholars propose that these giants were the descendants of those ancient unions, surviving the flood through means known only to God. Their towering stature, some standing as tall as 11 feet, and their superhuman strength made them formidable adversaries. In the days of Moses, the Rephaim were known in the lands of Canaan, their presence noted in battles that shaped the destiny of the Promised Land. Goliath, the giant felled by David, was one of these Rephaim, a Philistine champion from Gath, whose family included brothers and kin of similar stature. The scriptures in 2 Samuel and 1 Chronicles reveal that these giants were not mere myths but real figures who walked the earth, their legacy intertwined with the struggles of Israel. Their battles were not only physical but spiritual, representing a clash between the forces of God's chosen people and powers that sought to defy his will. As we ponder this, let us ask, what does the presence of these giants teach us about the challenges we face in our own lives? Like David, are we called to confront our own giants with faith and courage? Dear friends, let us now journey into one of the most dramatic moments in David's life, a chapter often overshadowed by his victory over Goliath, yet no less profound. In 2 Samuel 21, we find David, no longer the youthful shepherd but a seasoned king, leading his people in battle against the Philistines. The years of war had taken their toll, and the weight of age pressed heavily upon him. In the midst of this conflict, a new giant emerged from the lineage of the Rephaim, Ishbi-Benob, a warrior whose name means he who dwells in Nob. This was no ordinary foe. He was a descendant of the same giants as Goliath, perhaps even his brother, driven by a burning desire for vengeance. Armed with a bronze spear weighing 13 pounds and a newly forged sword, Ishbi-Benob towered over the battlefield, his height estimated between 9 and 11 feet. His presence struck fear into the hearts of Israel's warriors, yet his mission was singular: to end the life of the king who had humiliated his kin. David, exhausted from battle, stood vulnerable before this colossal adversary. The scriptures tell us that he was in great peril, his strength waning under the strain of combat. Yet, at this critical moment, God's providence shone through. Abishai, son of Zeruiah, David's loyal nephew, stepped forward with unwavering courage. With a precise and daring strike, he felled Ishbi-Benob, saving the king from certain death. This moment, dear brothers and sisters, reminds us that even in our weakest hours, God sends helpers, those who stand with us, bolstered by faith, to face the giants that threaten to overwhelm us. What are the giants in your life that seem insurmountable? Let us trust, as David did, that God's strength is made perfect in our weakness. The defeat of Ishbi-Benob was not the end of the giants' challenge to Israel. The scriptures reveal that the Rephaim continued to haunt the battlefields, their presence a persistent reminder of the spiritual warfare that undergirded Israel's struggles. In 2 Samuel 21 verses 18 to 22, we read of further battles at Gob and Gath, where other giants, all descendants of the Rephaim, rose to confront God's people. One was Saph, a formidable warrior whose strength rivaled that of Goliath. Another, known as Goliath the Gittite, bore the same name as his infamous kin, suggesting a shared lineage of terror. In yet another battle, a giant of extraordinary stature appeared, distinguished by 6 fingers on each hand and 6 toes on each foot, a mark of his otherworldly origin. These giants were not mere mercenaries hired by the Philistines. They were revered by their allies, the Canaanites and other peoples, as demigods or beings of divine descent. Their battles against Israel were not only territorial but deeply spiritual, pitting the chosen people of God against forces that traced their roots to the ancient Nephilim. Yet, in each encounter, God's faithfulness prevailed. Saph was slain by Sibbecai the Hushathite. Goliath the Gittite fell to Elhanan, son of Jeroregim, and the 6-fingered giant was defeated by Jonathan, son of Shemaiah, David's brother. These victories, achieved through the courage of David's warriors, echo a timeless truth. No giant, no matter how fearsome, can stand against the power of God working through those who trust in him. As we reflect on these battles, let us ask ourselves, how often do we face challenges that seem too great, yet find strength through the community of faith that surrounds us? The presence of these giants in the scriptures invites us to ponder their deeper significance. Why did God allow such formidable adversaries to test his people? The answer, dear friends, lies in the heart of God's plan for Israel and for each of us. The giants were not merely obstacles. They were opportunities for God's power to be revealed. Through David and his warriors, we see that faith, courage, and unity can overcome even the most daunting foes. The Rephaim, with their towering stature and supernatural origins, represented the forces of chaos and rebellion that sought to thwart God's covenant with his people. Yet, each victory over a giant was a testament to God's sovereignty, a reminder that he is greater than any enemy we face. In our own lives, we encounter giants, whether they be fears, doubts, or trials that loom large over our path. Like David, we are called to face them not with our own strength but with trust in the one who guides us. The story of these battles also speaks to the importance of community. David, though anointed by God, did not face these giants alone. His warriors, Abishai, Sibbecai, Elhanan, and Jonathan, stood by his side, their courage a reflection of the unity that strengthens God's people. In our modern world, we too are called to stand together, to support one another in faith, and to confront the giants of our time with the assurance that God walks with us. As we meditate on these truths, let us open our hearts to the Spirit, asking for the grace to face our challenges with the same trust and solidarity that defined David's victories. Dear brothers and sisters, as we delve deeper into the scriptures, we see that the battles against the giants were not merely isolated events but part of a larger tapestry of God's plan for his people. The defeat of Ishbi-benob, Saph, Goliath the Gittite, and the six-fingered warrior marked a turning point in Israel's history. These victories, recorded in 2 Samuel 21 verses 15 to 22, were not solely the triumph of human strength but a testament to the power of God working through his faithful servants. After the harrowing encounter with Ishbi-benob, David's warriors made a solemn vow. Never again would they allow their king to risk his life on the battlefield. They declared, as we read in 2 Samuel 21 verse 17, that David was the lamp of Israel, a light that must not be extinguished. This moment reveals a profound truth. Even the greatest among us, those chosen by God, are not meant to face their battles alone. David, though anointed and courageous, relied on the loyalty and bravery of his companions, Abishai, Sibbecai, Elhanan, and Jonathan. Their unity reflects the strength of a community bound by faith, a community that stands together against the giants of any age. In our own lives, dear friends, we are reminded that we, too, are part of a larger family of faith. When we face trials that seem overwhelming, God places others beside us, friends, family, or fellow believers, to share our burdens and lift us up. Let us ask ourselves, who are the companions God has given us to face our giants? And how can we, in turn, be a light to others as David was to Israel? The story of David and the giants also invites us to reflect on the legacy of the Rephaim and their place in the ancient world. These were not mere tales of myth, but accounts rooted in the historical and spiritual reality of Israel's journey. The Rephaim, with their towering stature and fearsome reputation, were revered by the Philistines and Canaanites as beings of divine origin, their presence on the battlefield a symbol of power and terror. Yet, the scriptures make clear that their strength was no match for the God of Israel. The defeat of Goliath and his kin was a declaration that no force, no matter how imposing, could stand against the will of the Almighty. This truth resonates across the centuries, speaking to us today as we confront the giants of our time, whether they be injustice, fear, division, or personal struggles. The story of David teaches us that courage is not the absence of fear but the decision to act in faith despite it. Just as David faced Goliath with a sling and a stone, trusting in God's deliverance, we are called to face our challenges with the tools God provides: prayer, community, and an unwavering trust in his providence. The Rephaim may have faded from the earth, but their story remains a powerful reminder that God's victory is assured, not through human might, but through the humble faith of those who seek him. As we ponder this, let us open our hearts to the Spirit, asking for the grace to trust in God's power and to walk boldly in his light. My dear friends, as we draw this journey to a close, let us hold fast to the lessons of David's encounters with the giants. These stories, often overlooked in the shadow of his victory over Goliath, reveal a deeper truth about the nature of faith and the resilience of God's people. David's life was marked by moments of triumph and vulnerability, yet through it all, he remained a man after God's own heart. His battles against the Rephaim were not just physical contests but spiritual victories, affirming that God's strength is greater than any giant we may face. Today, we live in a world filled with its own giants, challenges that test our resolve and call us to deeper faith. Yet, like David, we are not alone. We are surrounded by a community of believers, guided by the Spirit, and strengthened by the promise of God's presence. Let us take courage from these ancient stories, remembering that the same God who delivered Israel from the giants walks with us today. I invite you to carry this truth in your heart. No giant is too great, no trial too heavy, when we place our trust in the one who is our light and our salvation. If this story has touched your heart, share it with others, that they too may find inspiration in the courage of David and the faithfulness of God. Subscribe to this channel, leave a like, and join us as we continue to uncover the hidden treasures of the Scriptures. May God bless you, dear friends, and may His light guide you through every battle, now and always.